evening, and welcome to Whispered Ingredients. I'm your host, Marcus Sage, and I'm here to whisper you gently to sleep while we explore the wonderful world of cooking, recipes, and the fascinating stories behind our favorite ingredients. Tonight, we're diving into the comforting world of chocolate chip cookies. We'll journey through the accidental invention that changed American baking forever, explore each ingredient that makes these treats so irresistible, and discover the best ways to enjoy them. Along the way, I'll share the gentle stories of butter churning, the sweet history of sugar, and the remarkable journey of cocoa beans from tropical trees to your kitchen. If you enjoy these peaceful culinary journeys, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more soothing food stories. I'd love to hear about your own cookie memories in the comments below. Perhaps you have a special family recipe or a favorite way to enjoy these sweet treats. You'll find the complete recipe for tonight's chocolate chip cookies in the description below. Alright, let's get cooking. The story of chocolate chip cookies begins in 1938 at the Toll House Inn in Whitman, Massachusetts. Ruth Wakefield, the inn's owner and head cook, was preparing her usual butter drop cookies for guests when she made a decision that would forever change American baking. She chopped up a bar of Nestle's semi-sweet chocolate and mixed the pieces into her cookie dough, expecting them to melt and create chocolate cookies. Instead, the chocolate pieces held their shape, creating something entirely new. The cookies were an immediate success with her guests, and word of this delicious accident spread quickly throughout New England. Ruth had created what would become America's most beloved cookie. The partnership between Ruth Wakefield and Nestle began when the company noticed increased sales of their chocolate bars in the Massachusetts area. When they discovered the reason, they struck a deal with Ruth. She gave them the rights to print her recipe on their chocolate bar packages in exchange for a lifetime supply of chocolate. This agreement introduced the recipe to households across America. By 1939, Nestle began producing the first chocolate morsels specifically designed for baking. These small, uniform pieces were easier to use than chopping chocolate bars and helped standardize the cookie-making process. The recipe printed on every package became known as the original Toll House cookie recipe and remains largely unchanged today. During World War II, soldiers from Massachusetts received care packages containing these cookies, and they shared them with fellow soldiers from other states. This helped spread the popularity of chocolate chip cookies nationwide. The cookies became a symbol of home and comfort for American troops overseas. The cultural impact of chocolate chip cookies extends far beyond their taste. They became associated with maternal love, childhood comfort, and the American home. The phrase homemade cookies often specifically refers to chocolate chip cookies in American culture. They represent hospitality, warmth, and the simple pleasures of home baking. Interestingly, chocolate chip cookies are often used as a benchmark for testing web browsers and computer systems. The cookie files that websites store on computers were named after this beloved treat, chosen because they're small, sweet, and something you might want to keep around. The original Toll House Inn burnt down on New Year's Eve in 1984, but a historical marker now stands at the site, commemorating Ruth Wakefield's contribution to American culinary history. Her accidental invention has become one of the most replicated recipes in the world, with countless variations and improvements developed over the decades. Today, Americans consume over 7 billion chocolate chip cookies each year. The recipe has traveled globally, adapting to local tastes and ingredients while maintaining its essential character. From crispy thin cookies to thick chewy versions, the basic combination of butter, sugar, flour, and chocolate chips continues to bring comfort to kitchens worldwide. Let's gather our ingredients for this timeless recipe. You'll need 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, measured by gently spooning it into your measuring cup and leveling with a knife. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, which will give our cookies their perfect lift and tender texture. 1 teaspoon of salt, preferably fine sea salt or table salt, to enhance all the flavors. For our fats and sweeteners, we need 1 cup of butter, softened to room temperature so it creams beautifully with our sugars. 3/4 cup of granulated white sugar and 3/4 cup of packed brown sugar. The combination of these 2 sugars creates the ideal texture and flavor balance. 2 large eggs, also at room temperature for better incorporation, and 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Finally, our star ingredient, 2 cups of chocolate chips. Semi-sweet chocolate chips are traditional, but you can choose milk chocolate for sweeter cookies or dark chocolate for a more intense flavor. Begin by preheating your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature ensures even baking and proper spreading. Line your baking sheets with parchment paper or lightly grease them with butter. In a medium bowl, whisk together the flour, baking soda, and salt. This dry mixture can be set aside while we work on the wet ingredients. Whisking ensures even distribution of the leavening agent throughout the flour. In a large mixing bowl, cream the softened butter with both sugars. If using an electric mixer, beat on medium speed for about 3 minutes until the mixture becomes light and fluffy. This creaming process incorporates air into the dough, creating tender cookies. The mixture should be pale and increased in volume when properly creamed. Add the eggs 1 at a time, beating well after each addition. This gradual incorporation prevents the mixture from breaking apart. Pour in the vanilla extract and mix until combined. The mixture should be smooth and well blended at this point. Gradually add the flour mixture to the butter mixture, mixing on low speed just until combined. Overmixing at this stage can develop too much gluten, resulting in tough cookies. The dough should just come together with no visible flour streaks. Fold in the chocolate chips using a wooden spoon or rubber spatula. Distribute them evenly throughout the dough so each cookie will have a good amount of chocolate in every bite. Using a cookie scoop or rounded tablespoons, drop portions of dough onto your prepared baking sheets. Space them about 2 inches apart to allow for spreading during baking. Each cookie should be roughly the same size for even baking. Bake for 9 to 11 minutes until the edges are golden brown but the center still looks slightly underbaked. The cookies will continue cooking on the hot pan after removal from the oven. This technique ensures chewy centers with slightly crispy edges. Allow cookies to cool on the baking sheet for 5 minutes before transferring to a wire rack. This brief cooling period lets them set up enough to move without breaking apart. The dough can be made ahead and refrigerated for up to 3 days or frozen for up to 3 months. Chilled dough actually produces better cookies, as the cold butter creates less spreading and more controlled baking. For consistent results, use an oven thermometer to verify your oven temperature. Many home ovens run hot or cold, which can significantly affect baking times and cookie texture. Store finished cookies in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 1 week. Place a slice of bread in the container to maintain moisture and keep cookies soft. Let's explore the fascinating world of butter, our first key ingredient. Butter begins its journey as cream, the fat-rich portion of milk that rises naturally to the surface. Traditional butter making involved skimming this cream and churning it by hand in wooden churns until the fat globules clump together, dividing from the liquid buttermilk. Modern butter production follows the same basic principle but uses mechanical churns and precise temperature control. The cream is pasteurized, then cooled and aged to develop flavor. During churning, the cream transforms from liquid to whipped cream, then suddenly breaks as fat globules merge together. The resulting butter is washed with cold water to remove excess buttermilk, then salted if desired. In cookie baking, butter serves multiple crucial functions. Its fat creates tenderness by coating flour proteins and preventing tough gluten development. When creamed with sugar, butter traps air bubbles that expand during baking, creating light texture. The water in butter turns to steam in the oven, providing additional lift. Butter's flavor compounds develop through the fermentation of cream and the browning reactions that occur during baking. European-style butters often have higher fat and more complex flavors due to culturing processes that develop tangy notes. Sugar tells an equally compelling story. Granulated white sugar begins as sugar cane or sugar beets grown in tropical and temperate regions worldwide. Sugar cane, originally from Southeast Asia, spread throughout the world via trade routes and colonization. The process of refining sugar involves crushing the cane to extract juice, then boiling and crystallizing it multiple times to achieve purity. Brown sugar is simply white sugar with molasses added back in. Light brown sugar contains about 3.5% molasses, while dark brown sugar contains about 6.5%. This molasses gives brown sugar its distinctive flavor and moisture, which contributes to chewy cookie texture. In our cookies, sugar serves as more than sweetener. It tenderizes by interfering with gluten development, helps cookies spread by melting during baking, and contributes to browning through caramelization reactions. The hygroscopic nature of sugar, meaning it attracts and holds moisture, helps keep cookies soft. The balance between white and brown sugar in chocolate chip cookies is carefully calculated. White sugar promotes spreading and crispy edges, while brown sugar adds moisture and chewiness. The molasses in brown sugar also contributes complex flavors that complement chocolate beautifully. Eggs bring both structure and richness to our cookies. Each egg contains approximately 60% white and 30% yolk, with the shell making up the remainder. The white consists mainly of water and proteins, while the yolk contains fats, proteins, and emulsifiers like lecithin. In baking, egg proteins coagulate when heated, providing structure to baked goods. The fats in egg yolks contribute richness and help create tender texture. Lecithin acts as an emulsifier, helping blend fats and liquids smoothly together. Room temperature eggs incorporate more easily into cookie dough than cold eggs. The proteins are more flexible when warm, allowing better distribution throughout the mixture. This results in more uniform texture in the finished cookies. Vanilla extract completes our flavor foundation. True vanilla comes from the seed pods of vanilla orchids, primarily grown in Madagascar, which produces about 80% of the world's vanilla. The curing process for vanilla beans takes several months and involves blanching, sweating, drying, and conditioning. Pure vanilla extract is made by macerating vanilla beans in alcohol and water for several months. The alcohol extracts the flavor compounds, primarily vanillin, but also hundreds of other subtle compounds that create vanilla's complex flavor profile. Imitation vanilla uses synthetic vanillin, which lacks the depth of real vanilla but costs significantly less. Flour forms the backbone of our cookies, and its journey begins in wheat fields around the world. Wheat cultivation dates back over 10,000 years to the Fertile Crescent, where early farmers first domesticated wild grasses. Modern wheat varieties have been carefully bred for consistent protein, disease resistance, and milling qualities. The milling process transforms wheat kernels into the fine powder we know as flour. Wheat kernels consist of three main parts: the bran outer layer, the germ which contains oils and nutrients, and the endosperm which becomes white flour. Modern roller mills crack the kernels and divide these components through a series of sieves and air currents. All-purpose flour contains moderate protein levels, typically 10 to 12%, which creates just enough gluten development for structure without making cookies tough. When flour mixes with liquid and is stirred, proteins form gluten strands that provide elasticity and strength. In cookies, we want minimal gluten development to maintain tenderness. The age of flour affects its baking properties. Freshly milled flour produces different results than aged flour due to oxidation processes that strengthen gluten proteins. Most commercial flour is aged naturally or treated with oxidizing agents to standardize performance. Baking soda, our leavening agent, has a fascinating history rooted in chemistry. Sodium bicarbonate occurs naturally in mineral deposits and can be mined directly, but most commercial baking soda is manufactured from salt brine and limestone through the solvay process, developed in the 1860s. When baking soda encounters acid and moisture, it releases carbon dioxide gas that creates bubbles in our cookie dough. In chocolate chip cookies, the acid comes from brown sugar's molasses and the natural acidity in eggs. This reaction begins immediately when wet and dry ingredients combine, which is why cookie dough should be baked promptly. The amount of baking soda affects both rise and flavor. Too little results in dense cookies, while too much creates an unpleasant metallic taste and excessive spreading. The teaspoon called for in our recipe provides optimal lift without off flavors. Baking soda also affects browning reactions in cookies. The alkaline environment it creates promotes Maillard reactions, the complex chemical processes that develop golden color and rich flavors during baking. Salt might seem like a minor ingredient, but its impact on cookie flavor is profound. Salt enhances sweetness perception, making our cookies taste more intensely sweet without adding more sugar. It also strengthens gluten protein slightly and helps control yeast activity in recipes that contain it. Most table salt comes from either rock salt deposits left by ancient seas or solar evaporation of seawater. The refining process removes impurities and often adds anti-caking agents to prevent clumping. Sea salt retains trace minerals that can add subtle flavor complexity. In cookie dough, salt distributes throughout the mixture and concentrates slightly during baking as moisture evaporates. This creates pockets of enhanced flavor that balance the sweetness and highlight other ingredients. Finally, we reach our chocolate chips, the ingredient that transforms simple butter cookies into the beloved treat we're making tonight. Chocolate begins with cacao trees growing in tropical regions within 20 degrees of the equator. These trees produce large pods containing cacao beans surrounded by sweet pulp. The transformation from bean to chocolate involves fermentation, drying, roasting, and grinding. Fermentation develops flavor compounds while reducing bitterness. Roasting further develops flavors and creates the characteristic chocolate aroma we love. Grinding releases cocoa butter and creates the smooth texture of chocolate. Chocolate chips were specifically formulated to hold their shape during baking. They contain less cocoa butter than regular chocolate and include stabilizers that prevent complete melting. The teardrop shape maximizes surface area while maintaining structural integrity. Semi-sweet chocolate chips contain at least 35% cacao solids, providing rich chocolate flavor without excessive bitterness. The sugar balances the natural bitterness of cacao, creating the perfect complement to our sweet cookie dough. The tempering process used in chocolate chip manufacturing creates stable crystal structures that give chocolate its snap and glossy appearance. Proper tempering also affects melting characteristics and flavor release. The beauty of chocolate chip cookies lies not just in their taste, but in the countless ways they can be enjoyed and the memories they create. Fresh from the oven, when they're still warm and the chocolate chips are soft and melty, these cookies are perhaps at their most irresistible. The contrast between the slightly crispy edges and the tender, warm center creates a perfect textural experience. Many people have strong preferences about cookie texture. Some prefer them baked until golden and crispy throughout, creating a satisfying crunch with each bite. Others favor the underbaked approach, removing cookies when centers still look slightly raw, resulting in chewy, almost gooey centers. Both approaches have their merits and devoted followers. Pairing chocolate chip cookies with beverages opens up wonderful flavor combinations. The classic pairing with cold milk creates a nostalgic experience that spans generations. The milk's coolness and creamy texture complement the warm spices and rich chocolate perfectly. Coffee offers another excellent pairing, as the bitter notes balance the cookie's sweetness while the warmth enhances the vanilla and butter flavors. Tea drinkers often enjoy these cookies with black teas like Earl Grey or English breakfast, where the tannins provide pleasant contrast to the sweetness. Herbal teas such as chamomile or peppermint create soothing combinations perfect for evening enjoyment. For special occasions, chocolate chip cookies can be elevated with simple additions. A light dusting of sea salt on top before baking enhances all the flavors and adds sophisticated complexity. Serving them slightly warm with vanilla ice cream creates an instant dessert that feels both homey and elegant. Storage methods significantly affect cookie enjoyment. Properly stored cookies maintain their intended texture and flavor for days. Soft cookies should be kept in airtight containers with tight-fitting lids. Adding a slice of fresh bread to the container helps maintain moisture levels. The bread gradually gives up its moisture to keep cookies soft without making them soggy. Crispy cookies require different storage approaches. They should be kept in containers with loose-fitting lids that allow slight air circulation. Storing crispy and soft cookies together will result in texture changes as moisture redistributes between them. Freezing extends cookie life significantly. Baked cookies can be frozen for up to 3 months when properly wrapped. Thaw them at room temperature or warm frozen cookies briefly in a low oven to restore their fresh baked texture and aroma. Cookie dough freezes exceptionally well, allowing you to enjoy fresh baked cookies anytime. Scoop dough into portions, freeze on baking sheets until solid, then transfer to freezer bags. Frozen dough balls can be baked directly from the freezer with just an extra minute or two of baking time. Cultural traditions around cookie consumption vary widely. In American culture, chocolate chip cookies are often associated with after-school snacks, bake sales, and expressions of care. The act of baking cookies for others communicates love and hospitality in ways that transcend words. Many families have developed their own traditions and variations. Some add nuts like walnuts or pecans for extra richness and crunch. Others experiment with different chocolate types, mixing semi-sweet chips with white chocolate or dark chocolate pieces. Oatmeal additions create heartier cookies with more complex texture. International adaptations have created interesting variations. European versions often use different chocolate types or add spices like cinnamon. Asian interpretations might include matcha powder or black sesame seeds. These variations demonstrate how a simple recipe can adapt to local tastes while maintaining its essential character. The therapeutic aspects of cookie baking shouldn't be overlooked. The rhythmic motions of mixing, the pleasant aromas during baking, and the satisfaction of creating something delicious provide stress relief and mindfulness opportunities. Many people find cookie baking meditative and grounding. Sharing cookies builds connections between people. Whether bringing them to new neighbors, contributing to community events, or simply offering them to guests, cookies facilitate social bonding and create positive interactions. And on that note, we've completed our gentle journey through the world of chocolate chip cookies. From Ruth Wakefield's happy accident to the complex chemistry of each ingredient, from the careful techniques that create perfect texture to the many ways these treats bring joy to our days, we've explored the complete story of this beloved recipe. Thank you for joining me tonight on Whispered Ingredients. I hope you found this exploration both informative and relaxing. Sweet dreams, and I'll see you next time.